your gift already is that you are an original. And that is so cool because there is nobody else on this earth like you. Thanks so much for being here and for watching my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. I have been writing things down for a while now as they come to mind, and I really just wanted to make this video in hopes that I could help some of you out there that just might be in a place of needing some encouragement or maybe just a reminder. We tend to get in our heads a lot and we overthink. We compare ourselves a lot of the time here in life, and all of those things just basically rob us of the gift that we all are. And we're all unique in our own special way, and we all have gifts and talents. We're all different. We are very layered individuals. And I have thought about it so many times throughout my own life. I used to get so caught up in fitting in. I think that's something that you kind of go through in life, and maybe you're in just different phases of it at different points of your life. You tend to compare yourself with other people, and all that ends up doing is robbing you of your purpose and why you are here. It's almost a distraction that keeps your eyes focused on other things and less on what your purpose and your mission is while you're here on this earth. So let's get right into number one. So the first one that we all know, but we tend to forget really quickly, especially when we start measuring ourselves against our peers and our family and our friends, is there is only one you in this world. Like, really stop and think about that. It's kind of crazy and mind blowing that we were all stitched together in our own way when we were brought into this earth. There is only one you with your set of DNA. Even if you're an identical twin, you can look exactly like your twin, but you two still have your own unique personalities. You might have little physical differences. You might have different ways that you view the world, and that is your unique gift. We forget so often that our uniqueness is special. We were all made to be an original and not a carbon copy. I think of that all the time because if we really realized that each one of us has a special set of skills and gifts and the things that we've even gone through so far in our lives, we have a certain insight to things or understanding on things that some people might never have. We have certain viewpoints. We have gone through certain trials in our lives, and nothing is wasted. Everything that we go through in life is usually some kind of a learning lesson, and we can always take something away in hindsight when we really focus and look at what did we learn from this situation? How do we do better next time? What can we take away that can help us throughout our lives moving forward? And so I think it's all in the mindset of realizing that your gift already is that you are an original. And that is so cool because there is nobody else on this earth like you. The more that I have really pressed into that and thought on it, the more excited I get because of all your gifts that you have. The coolest thing is that when you have gone through the things that you've gone through in your life, down the road, when you have healed from it or grown through it, whatever it may be, you are probably going to run into somebody that you guys can relate on some kind of level, and you now have a certain understanding and insight on the things that you learned from that moment that you went through. And now you can share it with them and help them through their hard time or help them be an encouragement or a light to somebody. And that's the coolest thing, is nothing that happens to us is wasted. We go through lessons all the time, and it things happen for us to become better and stronger and wiser. And that in itself, your unique way that you understand things, is a gift and can be a gift to somebody else. I know there's been people in my life that I've came across that has been such an encouragement to me because they can really empathize or sympathize and just relate. And it's been a blessing for me when I have ran across certain individuals that they don't even realize that the uniqueness that they have and the person that they are has helped me so much in my life. And that's like, you are the gift that just keeps on giving to the world. And that's the coolest thing when you realize that your uniqueness and your originality is like a superpower that only you have. And so when you start to understand that in a better way and a more mindful way, instead of comparing yourself, because comparison is the thief of joy. Whenever you start measuring yourself against other people in this world, it takes away your gifts and you start almost like minimizing yourself because why is it that we can recognize in other people their gifts and talents so much easier than we can see it in ourselves? Have you ever stopped and just thought about that? Like, we all have a friend, a family member, a coworker. We have somebody close by in our lives that we might look up to and admire. But we almost forget to do that to ourselves because I understand and I know we can be our own worst critics most of the time. We're really hard on ourselves and we don't always see that we have a unique set of skills and talents that we can offer people too. And but we almost minimize that or make excuses when we see something in other people that we don't have. So just because you don't possess something that you admire in somebody else does not mean that you're any less than. Which brings me to the second thing that I've learned is, do not compare yourself with other people. I know it's so hard not to do sometimes. I get it. We've all done it. We're all guilty of it. And maybe you don't even realize that you're doing it. But instead of looking at what you don't have, like I said, in doing this video, I'm hoping to just get you excited about you again and stop comparing yourself so much. It's just such a killer and a distraction when we do that. It is not wrong to admire great things in other people. I absolutely love that. And I love even more when you take it a step further and you tell that person what you admire in them. Because I think sometimes when we start comparing ourselves in a way to other people to where it's almost a negative, and we're thinking more negatively about ourselves now because we're seeing that I can't run as fast, or I'm not as good at that job, or I don't cook as good, or I don't have that much patience with my kids like she does. Instead of doing that, I think it's good to just look at things as those are their gifts that they got blessed with. And instead of it dimming your light in the things that you have, why can't we just celebrate other people's gifts that they do have? That's such a good mind frame and mindset to get into, is you can celebrate other people's awesome things about them without having to think negatively about yourself. And with life being so short, we tend to get in our heads a lot and we overthink things and we over dissect things a lot of the time. And we're all here on this earth going through a series of things simultaneously all the time. And so what I personally love to do is, instead of, if I start really catching myself and seeing that I've been comparing myself to somebody else, even just them being at a different spot or timeline in their life, comparing it to where I am, or something that I actually really admire in somebody that I know I don't possess, instead of looking at it as a negative, I look at it as a positive. And I think that's so amazing that they got that gift. And I try and always make sure to tell them that is what I really admire in you, because I don't think we say that enough. Because I think in some weird way, if we really look deep down within ourselves, I think when we don't do that, we are feeling like if we give somebody credit or we recognize their greatness, it takes away from ours, or it makes us feel like we're not as great. And that's such a bad way to think about things, because we all have places where we shine and where we all have different strengths. So we can totally celebrate each other's strengths without minimizing our own. As I've gotten older, I feel so less intimidated and insecure about my shortcomings, and I feel more inspired by seeing other people's strengths. And there's a reason why, when you see that there's successful businesses and people, the reason why it's so successful and that it's working like a well-oiled machine so well is that everybody is utilizing their strengths together. And they all, it's almost like a strategic method that they use. And they all recognize, I know what my gifts and my strengths are. And I know what this guy or gal's strengths and gifts are. And so whenever you find a group of people that, instead of looking at each other in a competitive way, you're looking at each other and utilizing each other's strengths and gifts, and you're all growing and lifting each other up together. And that's such a beautiful thing. And that's just what I crave more of, is just being around people that, instead of getting intimidated or jealous or competitive, they actually utilize their differences and their different gifts to all level up each other and all help and encourage and strengthen and grow each other, which is the coolest thing to witness. Because how else are you going to get ahead in life if you try and do everything on your own, and you hold space for people that are different than you, that you can actually learn and grow from? That leads into number 3 is, are you living your life to impress people, or are you living your life to inspire people? I love listening to podcasts because there's so many cool little nuggets that I hear all the time. And as I hear them, I write them down, because I heard that months ago listening to a podcast, and it's so true. It's like, the people that I really view that are winning at life and kind of found the secret sauce of life are the ones that are a true inspiration to us. They're not all about being flashy and showing off, but they are an inspiration by how they're serving others, what they're contributing to the world, how they're helping other people, because they have recognized their gifts and their purpose and their talents, and now they are utilizing them and sharing them with other people in the world. So it's the coolest thing for me. I think one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is Ed Milet. He has some of the most, just besides him being so amazing and just having such words of wisdom, and he's all about personal growth. He's all about surrounding himself with like-minded people, people that are working hard and that are improving their lives and who live disciplined lives. His tagline or phrase that he always says is max out, like max out in everything that you do. And I love that so much, because the more that we focus inward on just ourselves, the more we kind of take away from, when we are gifted with things, our gifts are not to be held and hidden in a cave within ourselves. We were gifted things to share them with the world and to help people. And so the coolest thing is when you really decide, I'm here to inspire others, it's like a little mindset shift of, you're not really concerned about people viewing you, that you're cool or that you have a certain level of status. It's not about that anymore. When you're here to inspire people, the mindset shift for me is, how do I help people? Like, when you're an inspirational person, you focus more on other people and less on yourself. You're focused on how you can help others, how you can help others get ahead, how you can help others grow, how you can inspire others to be better and to want to be better and to not give up on themselves, and that they are special and unique and gifted and that they're an original person. That's the coolest thing, when you start having these realizations. And I think a lot of people, not everybody, but as you get older and the more life and things that you go through as an adult, you really, if you learn to sit with stuff and view it instead of being a victim and thinking, why does this always happen to me? And why do I have the worst luck? And why wasn't I born into this kind of family? Whenever you victimize yourself, you are almost stalling your growth. You're slowing it down. It doesn't mean you're not going to grow, but the more you stay in the victim mindset, the longer you stall yourself from learning what you need to learn, growing through that, healing through that, and launching yourself into the next space that you're supposed to be in, the next section of growth that you're supposed to be in. Who are you supposed to help? Who are you supposed to send that message to? I think it's so important to take our eyes off of ourselves so much. We have to look within ourselves often so that we're constantly self reflecting and improving. But I mean, don't just think about yourself and yourself only. That's probably the quickest way to live a very lonely life is when you think about just you, yourself, and me, myself, and I. When you realize that you're here to serve others more than serving yourself, and that you realize that you are a unique person with unique gifts and perspectives that you can help other people in this world, you also come to the realization that fitting in and going with the masses of people and being more concerned about doing what everybody else is doing is also kind of a way that you get lost in the crowd. And it takes a lot more courage and boldness to go your own way and to carve your own path. You hear all the time about the road to success is kind of a lonely one. And success means different things to different people. But once you realize what your gifts and your talents are, how are you going to share that with the world? We're not here to copy others. We're not here to be followers. It takes us realizing our own uniqueness to realize that we already have the things within us to be leaders and to change the course of how things go. But I think a lot of times people get intimidated about really pressing into fully who they are because it is scary. I think as human beings, we want acceptance from our peers. We don't want to always go against the grains and cause people tension or to be upset or to be bothered or to question what we're doing. But the more that I've realized that I, in my past, try to be a people pleaser, the more it kind of like is a slow death for you. When you focus so much on fitting in and just joining what the majority of people are doing and kind of just putting your head down and doing the same thing every day and not asking questions and not trying new things, not taking risks sometimes, I think it slowly just holds you back from what your true purpose is. And when you're not living up to your full potential, you just feel it. It's something that you just feel. It's like you always have this nagging voice in back of your head of like, you could be doing more, but we kind of just get into phases where we settle because we are creatures of habit and we like predictability sometimes and we love comfort. But comfort doesn't grow you. There's seasons where you are going to be maybe a little bit more comfortable than others. And maybe we'll call those restful seasons. And resting's fine. But we should always be thriving to grow and to improve and to learn new things. I don't think in this life you ever stop. And I think the moment that you stop learning and growing, you do yourself such a disservice because it's almost like you throw your hands up and decide to stop trying. Sometimes it gets overwhelming when you think about where you want to be in life. And I think how our brains work is we just focus on all the things we're probably going to have to do and achieve to get there. And it's all in how we break it down and having a plan and focusing on those little baby steps instead of the entire picture. It's the same way with before you go on a diet. You think about your number in your mind of what is the weight that you want to lose, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to lose 50 pounds. And that number just seems so daunting and so almost impossible or just treacherous to think about, instead of thinking about those little tiny steps that you take every single day. So success is the same way. First off, it is good to have a plan. It's good to write things down and have a vision of where you are going. That's a great start, is just have the end goal in mind. But what can we do every single day for us to actually achieve these little daily tasks and goals to get us to that big picture that we all desire to get to? So whatever your idea that success is or whatever your goal is, we have to almost like break it down into these small, doable tasks and daily habits. If you can be faithful in the little things, we can be faithful in the big things. So a lot of the time we have to whittle it all the way down and realize that success starts with small, tiny daily habits. It's better to focus on what can we do each day that gets us closer to the bigger goal. I always think about what my day would look like if I was where I really wanted to be in life. And these little tiny tasks, I'm still going to be doing them then. So I just want to prove to myself that when you're diligent and faithful to achieve these little goals each day, then I will get to my bigger goals later. I just have to keep good habits, a good routine, and keep showing up for myself. And that builds confidence, and you can build on top of that when you have a good foundation and a good routine each day. That is kind of just your go-to thing, and it kind of launches you and starts your day off right. So that leads me to the next point I want to make is be intentional with your life. I think so many of us get just wrapped up in so many things, and we're so distracted, and we are living in a time where there is every distraction known to man. I mean, social media, just that alone can be just such a time waster. But just every little thing, and then add on if you work, if you have kids, if you're married, just all of your duties and all your things that you do. It's like there are so many distractions that can take us away from what we really do want out of life and desire to have for our lives. And so I think the more that we really buckle down and get intentional about what kind of life do we want, life do we want to live, who do we want to be, it's awesome to share your dreams and your goals with people, but please understand that your vision and your dreams and your goals for your life are for you. Not everyone is going to understand it, and not everyone is going to be on board with them, or maybe not everybody believes it could be possible. And please don't let that derail you from what you really feel like is the potential that you could live up to in your life. Don't allow people's naysaying or cynicism or negativity to convince you that these things aren't possible. I know I might sound like a parent that says you can do anything if you put your mind to it, but I really do believe it's true. I just think that sometimes we tend to hold ourselves back because we get in our way and we get in our heads, and then we start getting distracted by listening to what everybody else is saying. Sometimes you need to quiet the noise and put your horse blinders on and just think, no, like God put this dream in my heart for a reason. And so it's like, it's a gift when it almost is like constantly nagging, like it just never goes away. it might disappear and it might dwindle in different parts of your life, but it's almost like it's always there, like a little shadow that follows you around. And so I would just encourage you that it's okay to share what your dreams and your goals are with the ones that you love and think that will support you. But please understand that if people aren't as excited about it as you are, or people come back with some kind of negativity or some comment, because your dream wasn't meant for anybody else. I heard somebody say this the other day. I think it was maybe a meme or on a podcast I was listening to, and they said the dream that God put inside your heart was for you. It's not for anybody else. It was not a conference call. So it was just for you to hear. It's not for everybody else to know and to understand, and that's okay. Sometimes, unfortunately, the closest ones to us, our family or our friends, you automatically think they're going to be the most supportive, and sometimes they're the most unsupportive, or maybe because they know you and they've known you your whole life and they know that you tend to run late to everything that you've ever gone to, or weren't really good at saving your money, or maybe you were kind of flaky. Whatever it is that your family thinks that they know about you, sometimes your family forgets that you can grow and change and improve at any time. And that's what we are here to do. And so sometimes they can be your biggest naysayers. They might not be your biggest cheerleaders because they do know aspects about you, but it doesn't mean that's who you are, and it doesn't mean that you can't grow through that and improve and better yourself and become a different and better. Basically, what I was getting at was, no matter if you have support from your family or your friends or your peers, it really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter, because when you have a desire to do better and be better in your life, nothing should stop you, no matter what. I know we all want the approval of our loved ones, but just know that you might not ever get it, and that's okay. Sometimes people have to see to believe. And I think what is the most important thing for you to remember is that no matter if people see it or not, you need to be believing in yourself and your capabilities and your abilities. Like, if anything, just do it for you to prove that you can do it. Because if you run around and waste your time in your life seeking other people's approval, that is such an exhausting way to live your life. And so I just truly think the best thing to do is, if something truly is important and matters to you, then nothing should stop you in achieving that and working really hard towards those goals. And I think timing's everything. And a lot of it, sometimes it just takes people time to get on board or to finally see the vision that you've always had in your heart and in your mind. Thank you so much for listening and tuning into this chat. I hope that you all took away something. I hope that you guys feel encouraged in some way, shape, or form. If you don't have anyone in your corner, just know that I am in your corner and I'm rooting for you just as much as I'm rooting for myself to win and get ahead. There is more than enough space and room in this world for us all to do well in life, and we should be cheering each other on and not be competitive to one another, because, like I said in the beginning, we all have our own gifts and talents and abilities and capabilities, and we should all be celebrating those together. Okay, you guys, have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.